There is a single piece of paper, one page, completely free, available right now on the Social Security Administration's own website, that middle-class workers can use to permanently increase their monthly retirement check by up to 32%. Not a loophole, not a trick. An official government form that the SSA processes every single day. And yet, when you walk into their office, when you apply for benefits, when you get your first check, nobody hands you this document. Nobody explains it. Nobody even mentions it exists. Most of the people who qualified for it have already missed their chance simply because they never knew to ask. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what this document is, who can still use it, how much real money is on the table, and 2 additional strategies that can still grow your benefit even if the window on the first one has already closed. And stay with me through the end, because the final strategy is the one that applies whether you have claimed already or not, and it is the most important financial decision most middle-class families will ever make in retirement. Before we go any further, hit subscribe right now and turn on that notification bell. Everything I'm covering today falls into a category the SSA will not walk you through unless you already know to ask the right questions, and most people never do. The people watching this channel get that information before the deadline passes. So subscribe now and let's get into it. Let's start with the document itself. It is called Form SSA 521, the request for withdrawal of application. Here's what it actually does. If you have already filed for Social Security retirement benefits, this one-page form gives you the legal ability to completely undo that decision. Your claim is erased. Oh, your record is reset. Your future benefit gets recalculated based on the age at which you refile, and the result is a permanent lifelong increase that can be hundreds of dollars every single month for the rest of your life. Let me make this real with actual numbers. Imagine a middle-class worker, someone like millions of Americans, who loses their job at 62, panics about covering the bills, and files for Social Security early just to bridge the gap. They start receiving a reduced monthly check because they claimed 5 full years before their full retirement age of 67. Their benefit is reduced because of that early filing. Now, a few months later, things turn around. New income comes in. They no longer need that check the way they thought they would. And now they are looking at decades of a permanently reduced payment because of one decision they made in a moment of financial fear. That is where Form SSA 521 changes everything. They file the form, they repay the months of benefits they have received, and the SSA treats that application as if it never happened. They wait. They refile at 70. And instead of collecting a reduced benefit for the rest of their life, they are now collecting a check that is 32% higher, permanently, every single month, for every year they live. Over a 20-year retirement, we are talking about a difference that reaches into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. That is not a rounding error. That is a retirement transformation. And it came from one page of paperwork. Now, here's the part the SSA will absolutely not remind you about. There's a hard deadline. You have exactly 12 months from the date of your very first Social Security payment to file Form SSA 521. Not 12 months from when you changed your mind. Not 12 months from when you found out this form existed. 12 months from check number 1. Miss that window and the option is gone permanently. There is no appeal. There is no exception. You also have to repay every dollar you received. Every benefit payment, including any Medicare premiums that were deducted directly from your checks. If you have the cash available, the math almost always works powerfully in your favor. Run the numbers. One more thing. You are only allowed to use Form SSA 521 once in your lifetime. If you have ever withdrawn a Social Security application before and refiled, this path is no longer open to you. And it only applies to retirement benefits, not to survivor or disability claims. Now, what if you are watching this and that 12-month window has already closed? What if you filed 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and you have been collecting ever since? There is still a path forward. It is called voluntary suspension, and it works differently from the SSA 521 withdrawal, but can still produce a meaningful and permanent increase in your monthly benefit over time. Once you reach your full retirement age, which is 67 for anyone born in 1960 or later, you can contact Social Security and formally request that your payments be voluntarily suspended. Starting the following month, your checks stop. But here is what is happening while those payments are paused. Your benefit is growing at 8% per year. Those are called delayed retirement credits, and they are the same credits that people who waited to claim in the first place are earning. The difference is, you do not give back a single dollar of what you have already received. You simply stop collecting going forward, let the benefit compound, and restart at a higher number when you choose, or automatically at age 70 if you have not restarted by then. On a current benefit of $2,000 per month, a 3-year voluntary suspension from 67 to 70 produces a new monthly payment of $2,480. That is $480 more every single month, permanent, for life. Over 20 years, That is an additional $115,000 in lifetime income from one phone call to the Social Security Administration. The break-even point, the age at which suspending pays off more than just continuing to collect, falls around age 82. For any middle-class retiree in reasonable health with a family history that trends toward longer life, voluntary suspension wins mathematically almost every single time. But there is one critical detail that the SSA does not lead with when you ask about this option. When you suspend your retirement benefit, any benefits currently being paid to family members on your record are suspended at the same time. A spouse collecting a spousal benefit based on your record, that payment stops too. This changed in 2016. Before that change, you could suspend your own benefit while your spouse kept receiving theirs. That strategy no longer works. If your spouse is receiving a spousal benefit tied to your record right now, have a direct conversation with a Social Security representative before requesting any suspension, because their income will pause the moment yours does. Now let's talk about the engine underneath all of this. Because whether you use Form SSA 521, whether you use voluntary suspension, or whether you simply have not claimed yet and are trying to decide when to file, this is the mechanism that drives every dollar of the increase we have been discussing. And most middle-class families do not fully grasp just how powerful it is. From your full retirement age of 67, every single month you delay filing for Social Security adds 0.667% to your benefit permanently. That is 8% per year. 3 full years of delay, from 67 to 70, adds exactly 24% to your benefit for the rest of your life. On a $2,000 full benefit, that is $480 more every month. On a $3,000 benefit, it is $720 more every month. But here's the part that people consistently underestimate and that makes the long-term numbers even larger. Every year, Social Security applies a cost of living adjustment, a COLA increase, as a percentage of your current benefit. If your monthly check is $2,480 instead of $2,000, a 3% COLA adds $74 to your check instead of $60. The higher your base, the bigger every single future inflation adjustment is in real dollar terms. The gap between claiming early and claiming late does not stay fixed. It compounds every year you are alive. The credits are also calculated monthly, not just annually. You do not have to wait for a clean anniversary to benefit. Every single month you delay past your full retirement age adds to your check. If you delay by 6 months, you get 4% added permanently. This matters for people sitting on the fence who think they have to pick a round number date. You do not. Every month counts. The break-even analysis for delayed claiming versus early claiming typically lands between age 78 and 83, depending on the specific comparison. For the average American who reaches 65, life expectancy is another 19 to 21 additional years, which puts most people well past the break-even point. For people in excellent health with strong family history of longevity, waiting to claim almost always wins by a significant margin. For people with serious health conditions or genuinely shortened life expectancy, the math can point the other way. This is a personal calculation, and there is no single right answer that works for every family. But what I can tell you is that most people make this decision without ever sitting down to run the actual numbers. And that is where the real retirement money gets left behind. Finally, and this one applies to you whether you have already claimed, whether you are approaching retirement, or whether you are years away, there is one more factor that determines how much your benefit actually is, and therefore how much every single one of these strategies is worth. Every delayed retirement credit, every percentage increase from voluntary suspension, every dollar from refiling at 70, all of it is calculated as a percentage of your base benefit amount. And that base benefit is built entirely from your lifetime earnings record. If that record contains errors, years where your employer submitted incorrect payroll data, years that show lower income than you actually earned, years that appear as zero income when you were absolutely working, your base benefit is lower than it should be. And every strategy we have discussed today is worth less than it could be, because the foundation number is wrong. You can verify your own earnings record right now, today, for free, by logging into your My Social Security account at ssa.gov. Pull up the earnings listed for every year you worked. Compare them against your own records, your W-2 forms, your tax returns, your old pay stubs. If you find a discrepancy, you submit a request for correction of earnings record along with your documentation. The SSA corrects the record and recalculates your benefit. A single corrected year of earnings typically raises a monthly benefit by roughly $100. Applied over a voluntary suspension strategy or full withdrawal and refile, that $100 correction is worth $24,000 over 20 years. So the complete picture looks like this. Form SSA 521 gives you the ability to undo an early claiming decision within 12 months and restart at a benefit that can be 32% higher permanently. Voluntary suspension after full retirement age lets your benefit grow at 8% per year. without returning anything you have already collected, though it will pause any spousal benefits tied to your record. Delayed retirement credits add 0.67% per month past full retirement age. Prorated monthly, compounding with every future cost of living adjustment, up to the maximum at age 70. And verifying your earnings record for errors ensures that all three of these strategies are working from the correct starting number. The SSA will not bring any of this up on its own. It will process your application, send your check, and move on. Everything covered today requires you to know it exists and to take action yourself. If this helped you, share it right now with someone you know who is on Social Security or getting close to it. They may still have time to act, and subscribe, because the next one is just as important.